few details to share with you. We'll talk about our response, and we have time for a few questions. First, I'm going to hand it over to Purdue University Police Chief John Cox.
Thanks, Liz. Good evening. Thanks for joining us on this sad and tragic day for the Purdue community and the local West Lafayette and for all Boilermakers everywhere. We want to give you a little bit of a briefing on what has developed in the last few hours since we last met. So we are going to be able to release the name of the suspect and also of the victim. The victim's family has been notified, and so the coroner's office has allowed us to do that. First off, I'd like to give you the name of our suspect. His name is Cody M. Cousins, C-O-U-S-I-N-S. He is 23 years of age. He resides in the 300 block of West Stadium Avenue. Cody is a student in the College of Engineering and has been booked into the Tippecanoe County Jail on a preliminary charge of murder. Our victim is Andrew F. Bolt, B-O-L-D-T. Andrew resides on campus in one of our residence halls and is from the West Bend, Wisconsin area. Andrew is a senior in college here, and his age is 21. The Tippecanoe County Coroner's Office, the Tippecanoe County Prosecutor's Office will be the driving agencies in determining any additional charges or making any comment on any more of the autopsy or injuries or anything like that. We won't be answering any questions about that. I would like to thank all of my public safety partners. Obviously, the team in the room here, our senior administration has been extremely supportive, our news service folks, and all of the people that came in. Indiana State Police are helping with our crime scene. We have 5 evidence technicians working that right now. I would like to emphasize that the electrical engineering building is still closed at this time. The rest of the campus has gone back to normal operations. Specifically, I would like to thank our EMS partners in the West Lafayette Fire and the Purdue University Fire Department. They were on scene immediately, as well as our Tippecanoe County Emergency Ambulance Service. They also came as well. I would like to just make a couple of brief comments on the investigation that I can. First of all, this is a homicide that we're working. This is, again, I said this earlier, this is not your typical active shooter. This appears to be an isolated and an intentional act. We have developed information through several witnesses that the victim appeared to have been targeted by the suspect, and it was no more or no less than that. This was not an active shooter incident where we just had someone randomly coming onto the campus and injuring our students, faculty, and staff and visitors. We did have the call come in again around noon. We sent out our emergency response text right away. The sirens went off. And I would like to take a moment to thank all of the students, all of the staff, all of the faculty, and everybody that responded appropriately. We've had a tremendous amount of support, and everybody did exactly what they should have done. What we have trained to do, what we trained to do on campus, what we have trained to do with our emergency partners across the area. And unfortunately, you train and plan for one of these incidences, and you hope it never happens. But unfortunately, it did today here, and everything that we did went exactly as it should have gone. As a matter of fact, our text alerts and everything we're rolling out. Our response from our West Lafayette City partners, as I mentioned earlier. Officer Kevin Coomey with the West Lafayette City Police Department took the suspect into custody on the east side of the electrical engineering building along Northwestern Avenue before even the last text messages had reached. So it was that efficient and that quick. Tim?
Thank you, Chief Cox. Just like to make a few comments to add on to what I said earlier today. Of course, like to express our compassion for all those in the Purdue community at this time of tragedy, especially to family and friends of those involved directly. I've been in contact with the President Daniels, and as I mentioned earlier, he's in Columbia. He was on a week-long trip to engage with the universities in that country and with the government there. And he's, of course, stunned and saddened, as we all are, by this crime. Homicides are extremely rare at events at Purdue. It's shocking. We're all gathering ourselves. But he's decided to cut his trip short. He'll be back by sometime tomorrow. He's in the process of making plans and leaving as soon as possible. So you'll see him here sometime tomorrow, if all goes well in his trip back. The president has asked me to cancel classes, so we canceled classes this afternoon. As Chief Cox mentioned, we had normal operations rather quickly, but that just means that people are allowed to engage and walk around campus. The facilities are running. But we did decide to cancel classes, and we'll continue to have classes suspended for all day tomorrow as well, out of respect for those in our community. Our students have planned a candlelight vigil at 8 p.m. out in front of Hovde Hall, and that will provide an opportunity not only for our students to get together and show support, but for our Dean of Students office to convey information about how they can seek out resources. In fact, that has already occurred to a large extent, but this is another opportunity. I think you'll see quite a few students there expressing their support. I'd personally like to thank all of the emergency response folks, the Purdue and West Lafayette Police Department, the West Lafayette Fire Department, the Dean of Students office, which has obviously engaged quickly and is still engaged, and our student and faculty leadership. They've really stepped up. And of course, it's not over, it's just beginning. But I think this vigil tonight will be the beginning of a healing process, but it'll take a while. Thank you very much.
And we have time for a few questions for Provost Tim Sands and Purdue Police Chief John Cox.
Chief, can you tell us anything about a possible motive, possible weapon? Can you provide some additional details of what happened?
Sure. As I stated earlier, it's all preliminary investigation. It's being driven by the prosecutor's office. We really won't be commenting on those parts because as we speak, the detectives are still talking to multiple people that were either in the building or witnessed or part of that. So there were shots fired in the facility. And as I mentioned, the Indiana State Police have brought in some of their technology from the state police post to help us document the scene, and we'll be collecting information. We'll put something together, and at some point, I would think that when the prosecutor's office goes through and files those formal charges, that some of that information will be available.
How many shots were fired?
We got complaints over the, as many of you may have heard, if you were around at the scanner, we were getting complaints of 4 to 5 shots being fired.
Do you know their relationship, how they might be connected, and were they both students?
Both our students here at the university were developing those relationships at this time.
Can you confirm that the victim was a teaching assistant?
The teaching, yes, he was a teaching assistant.
Was he teaching this class?
That I don't know. I don't have that information.
Can you confirm the age of the teaching assistant?
I'm sorry, say that again?
Can you confirm the age of the teaching assistant?
Yeah, 21. Andrew was 21 years of age.
How about the suspect? If he was a teaching assistant? as
No,
well as-
student here, 23 years of age.
And was the student a student, the victim, a student in that class today?
You know, sir, I don't know that for sure. I'd have to go back.